Not you. My dog. How you doing? What's going on? Yeah, we got sound. Welcome to Daily Fuel, the mixed up time edition. I got my dog with me. She's too low, you can't see her, but she's cute. And anyway, so I scheduled this live because my daughter was supposed to be at work, and then my wife is going to go get her, and the house would be fairly empty, and it would be great. And so what happens? They're on their way home early. And so they'll be here soon, but not soon enough that I could have waited, but probably in a couple of minutes. So anyway, yeah, they're gonna come in the door, and the dog was gonna bark when they do. So I brought the dog downstairs. But when you bring the dog downstairs, then the cat has to come too, because the cat has to know what's going on and go with the dog. And then the cat's gonna want to leave because the cat is just like, this is dumb. Why am I even in here? Anyway, how you doing? Welcome to the replay. And also the boiler's on because when my daughter gets home, she needs to take a shower, and usually I turn the boiler off. Anyway, somebody said hi, and it doesn't say who you are, so do me a favor and just write a comment and let me know what that is. And Robin's here, thumbs up. Hi, Robin, you're live. And yeah, and Marcia is here. Hi, Marcia, how are you? Yeah, whoever that is that said hi, if you've never been on a live before, there's a link that you got to click to let Ecamm, my software, let me know who you are. But occasionally, people who have clicked it already, it doesn't work, and it still says whatever. Anyway, I'm going to get started. That didn't take as long. Anyway, if you're in the replay, let me know you're in the replay. Hashtag replay. And the dog and the cat are wrestling now, so this is going to be a calamity. We will see what happens. Bear with me today. Let's go. Ray said hi. Oh, hi, Ray. That's you. You don't need to click that link anymore. I don't know why it says that you're not you. It's just it doesn't say who it is. Anyway, all right, I'm starting now. Whew. You ever have that inner critic that tells you stink, or you're not worthy, or you're irresponsible, or any of those things, whatever it says to you? A week or two ago, I did a live, am I good enough? But the inner critic can ask you that question a lot, right? But it also can ask you some other things, like, are you worthy to be doing this? Is this a responsible thing for you to be doing? Is what you do original enough? So these are some things that I've come up with that my inner critic fights with me on. If you guys have others, you can say them, and we could do them in another live. But anyway, so I'm just going to quickly go over the not good enough one again, because it's worth repeating, I think. The not good enough one, I think, comes from when you're comparing yourself to other artists. In this group, we created a nice safe space for people to share their work, but I can imagine that even when you're looking at other people in this group, or in any other artist group, or anywhere on planet Earth, when you're looking at other artists, you're seeing their finished work primarily. People are just like, hey, look at this thing I made. It's awesome and it's perfect. But you don't know that it took them 6 months and 15 revisions and 1,000 crumpled up pieces of paper or canvases or whatever they do, right? And you look at yourself and your own work, and what you primarily see are the drafts and the ideas and the mistakes that you made. And you see the whole process when it comes to yourself. But when you're looking at somebody else's work, you see the finished work. Right? Especially like I also did the one last week on does every piece need to be a masterpiece? Well, the masterpieces are the ones that end up in museums or get sold at auction or whatever. But we don't understand everything that went into it. We don't understand. We don't know the turmoil that the artist went through to create it, and the self-doubt that they may have had. Stop comparing yourself to other people. Compare yourself to yourself from last week. Compare yourself to yourself from a month ago, a year ago. I told you. Can you hear that? The cat is like, why am I in here? This is dumb. The dog doesn't have a choice. She has to stay. But the cats, you can't have closed doors in a house with a cat, because they don't like that. They're just like, hey, open this door for me. And then you open the door, and then they go, I don't feel like going through the door. I just wanted you to open it for me. Anyway, if he meows again, I'm gonna let him out. So, do you guys have cats? Let me know in the thing. Is that all Ray? Because like 3 comments there. have no person. And I don't know why it's doing this. It did this last time too. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting off base here because the animals are distracting me. Anyway, so the second one is a conglomeration of actually two things that my inner critic has said to me for many years. You're unworthy of doing what you want to do, and what you want to do is irresponsible. I kind of put them together because I've been working on them together. For you, they may be irrelevant, or they may be two completely separate things. I'm going to let that cat out. Give me 1 second, all right? Don't go anywhere. Hang on. Man, you get back. All right, you have to stay in the room. You don't have a choice. Give me that. You, get out. There you go. Excellent. There we go. Everybody's happy now. Everybody's happy now. Wow. Are you a cat person? I'm not so much a cat person. Everybody else in my family is. I don't mind the cats. They're nice. I like them. I like petting them and stuff. But, I'm not a cat person. Anyway, being unworthy or it not being responsible, right? And I put these two together because to me it kind of seems like the way people look at art in general. Art is nice to have, right? It's nice to have, and and I've said this before, as soon as things get tight, schools, the art is like the first thing they cut. We didn't pass the budget, and when the economy is going down the toilet, so we need to tighten our belts or anything. What should we do? Let's get rid of art. Art's just gone, right? Because why? Because people don't value art. They don't see the value in it. It doesn't, it's not factory work. It's not making cars. It's not making military equipment. It's not doing anything productive. So, it's not a real job. It's not really responsible. And you're not really worthy of having that kind of a life that you want to have. Unless, of course, you're doing art that is responsible, like graphic design or art therapy or you're a teacher. Those things, and maybe not even so much a teacher, but the other two, right? Those things are okay. But if you want to go to art school, or you want to have a business as an artist, or you just want to make art the foundation of your life in some way, well, you better do it in a way that everybody else approves, and because they're going to have something to say about it. And if you think that they're going to have something to say about it, then your inner critic is certainly going to have something to say about it, because he or she is going to constantly be needling you, going, you shouldn't be doing this. People don't respect this. Well, why are you, right? Anyway, so that's kind of the thing. And here's an example for me when I kind of landed on this whole thing that what I want to do is make a comic book. Wow, that was really, really hard for me, because a comic book sounds kind of irresponsible, sounds kind of like childish, except in reality what it is I want to tell stories. I want to get these stories out in an artistic form, and I realized that these ideas of making the videos or the films and stuff that I wanted to make, they were a little bit beyond my range as a single person working here in this studio. Eventually, could I make a film? Yeah, but it would probably be 10 minutes, and it would take me a year and a half to make it. So it was just like, I'm not going to get much out that way, and I have so much that I want to create and put out there. So maybe the medium wasn't so important to me as was the ability to use all of my talents. And that's where the comics came into play, because I used to make them as a kid. I've told you that. And I love it. It's just that I had to really battle with my own inner critic to tell him to just shut the fuck up. Because, I don't care that people think it's childish. I don't even know that people think that. I think that people think that. And therefore, my inner critic is telling me that people think that, and therefore, my inner critic is making me feel bad for wanting to do it, until I did the work that I've been doing recently and, got him to be quiet about that. Now I'm okay with it. I actually am really okay with it. But it was work, and it requires work to settle your inner critic down, to get him or her to just be quiet about these things that you make up about society as to why it's not responsible to do what you want, or you're not worthy of doing what you want. And then finally, the third one that I was thinking of is how your inner critic may be telling you that your work is unoriginal. Especially, this kind of ties into the not good enough one, but I had a different idea with this, because when you're looking at other things, like here I am creating this science fiction comic book series, and recently I've been rewatching the Star Wars movies on Disney Plus, and I love Star Wars. I've always been a big sci-fi fan. Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, all that kind of stuff is like right up my alley, right? And to watch the Star Wars movies and to compare the story idea or the plot idea or the character production idea or any kind of idea to what I'm doing just can make it kind of feel like, is this original enough? My thing is nothing like Star Wars, so that's not really a good comparison. But you understand what I mean. It's like we can look at something that's a Hollywood produced or art that somebody that's like a giant in your field creates or created in the past, and then look at your own and just be like, am I making something that's pushing the boundaries? Am I making something original enough? And I think that originality comes from authenticity. I think that sometimes what we do is we think that it's got to be completely different to be original. And I'm not sure that that's the case. I mentioned as a kid I used to make comics, and my comics were extremely derivative. I was basically just copying ideas left and right. And I think that for an artist that is a natural stage. No matter how old you are, in whatever stage you're in your art creation, you need to have that point where you're just creating things based on what you see other people doing. And I think what happens is, over time, you start to add in your own authenticity. And it may be in parts that you weren't really thinking it could be. For example, I was making comic books as a kid and into high school and even a little bit into college, right, as a hobby. And I would, the stories were original, but they weren't really good. And but the characters and the plots and the themes and the premise, they were kind of a ripoff of some things that I was a fan of as a kid. It wasn't even science fiction. It was like G.I. Joe stuff. Like when I was in middle school and into high school, there was a cartoon on every afternoon called G.I. Joe, and it was like these army guys and stuff. And I thought it was cool back then. And so I made up my own band of characters in that vein. And I mean, if you looked at it, that show, and you looked at my comic, it's like a complete ripoff. But I didn't care because I wasn't trying to make something to sell. I was just making it because I enjoyed the show so much. I wanted to make my own stories. And my way of injecting originality was to come up with my own character names and my own scenarios for them. And at the time, that was good enough for me. I didn't care. I didn't have an inner critic telling me, like, you're ripping off G.I. Joe, right? That didn't matter back then. As I got older, I stopped doing that. I started making things a little bit more original. But then the critic would start to say, like, is this even original enough? Like, this looks a little bit like that, or take my music, for example. How much originality can really go into a song? And every song kind of, there are only like 7 notes, right? 8 notes. So it's like there's going to be some kind of overlap with things. And, I'll go through periods where I'll listen to the Beatles for a while, and then I'll write something melodic. Or I'll listen to Tool, and I'll write something really, really heavy. Or I'll listen to Jared Leto and 30 Seconds to Mars, and I'll write something in that vein, And so it's like there's originality, but I don't have to reinvent my own genre of music. I can just sort of like inject my own personality into something that I already have heard and like, and just kind of make it my own. And I think that's where I was going with originality. Anyway, I'm sorry if I seem a little spacey. I wasn't expecting the whole world to be walking around my head today. They came home, but luckily the dog's down here, so she didn't bark. If I left her upstairs, she would have started barking when they opened the door, and that would have been a madhouse. I'm going to go to the comments now and say hello to you guys. So, hello. So, wow, there's a lot of blank comments. So I said hello to Marsha and Robin and Ray and Robin and oh good, the furry little being. I've been here before. Yeah, right. Yeah, so that's you. Hi, Bobby. Are you in a cave or what? These comments are all blank. Bobby, I see you after sleep. I'm sorry, I don't know who said that. My dogs heard the cat and tried to find it. That's pretty funny. And Robin, you're showing up. Robin Ray said, I've had many cats and they never listen. LOL. before sleep, my English. I'm sorry, I don't know who that is. Is that Anna? Anna, yeah, okay. I'm guessing because of your English. So, hello, Anna, how are you? And I did not say that. I don't know who said that. This is really obnoxiously annoying that I don't know who anybody is because all I see is one of those gray icons and no name. I just see the comment. And that just annoys me. Anyway, sorry. But Robin, you're showing up. So Robin, I'll read yours. Anna, Bobby was letting the cat out. Robin says, your inner critic was stopping you from doing what your heart wanted. Yes, that's a no. Okay, see, this is when I don't know what you're talking about because it was 10 minutes ago. So now you're making me laugh. Thank you. Robin says, just do it so people can see it. If your inner critic stops you, then you will never know. You know, that's really, really true. I think that no matter where you are with this, there's really only one way to silence your inner critic, and that's just to do it anyway. And maybe you need help, maybe you need guidance, maybe you need a mentor, maybe you need a peer group, and that's why I think that this group is so beneficial for all of us, because it's helped me to sort of get over my own inner critic just by talking about it a lot. So if there's something that's on your mind, feel free to do a post and get some people's opinion on it to let them help boost you up as well. I don't have a problem with that. That's what this group is for. Robin says, often I find that I do things and somehow they look a little bit like other things out there. Yes, like there are ideas out there in the air that just creep in. Yeah, that's what I was talking about, right? That things can look like other things or they can sound like other things depending on what your art is. I think it's okay. I think that we need to start creating derivative work and then sort of inject our own personality into it and our own the original part may be that you're injecting your own personality into something. It may not be an original piece of. Let me use music as an example here, because I'm thinking of like cover bands, right? When I was in my band back in the day, we were an original rock band, but when we did shows at clubs and bars and stuff, we would also do covers. We'd do like half covers and half original songs. If you don't know what I mean, a cover is when a band plays a song by a larger established band. So we would do songs by the Beatles, Pearl Jam, Duran Duran. We ran the gamut. Jane's Addiction. We did a lot. So anyway, but with each song, we didn't do it like on their album. We did it as if we had written the song. So we would take every song and we would do it in our style of music. We were like funky 90s rock, right? But we would take like a Bee Gees song for 70s disco and play it in the style of 90s rock with a little funk, like the Chili Peppers, right? My guitar player was very funky and it was a lot of fun. So that was the original stuff. Like, even though everybody knew the song, but we added our own flair to it. So sometimes your originality could just be a flair to something. Like, you could be painting something in the style of an established artist, but adding your own flair to it, or your own personality to it, or your own take on it. There's really no one way to be original. I think that everybody sort of harps on the idea of being original as being something that we've never seen before. We've never heard this before. But originality could be where, like let's say you're a filmmaker. You could just take a basic hero's journey type story, but you film it in a way that was never done before. You use camera's angles that were never seen before, or you use technology that was never used before. Even though the story isn't totally original, but the production is. And I think that we sort of expect every artist to come up with brand new things. Like, we all have to invent the wheel somehow. And I don't think that's fair. And maybe nobody thinks that of other people, but our inner critic thinks it of ourselves. Like, I already saw this somewhere. That's kind of like that thing, and you stink. So there's all of that. Robin says, there's nothing wrong with it. I just find it fascinating. Am I the only one talking? Yeah. See, Robin, you're in the long comments club just because you don't write long comments. You write a lot of little comments, but they add up. And Kelly's here. Hello, Kelly. How are you? It sounds like you are suggesting there may be a balance of power for the inner critic, knowing that it may have a valid point, but it also needs to allow room for childlike fun and curiosities. That's a good way to put it. I didn't think of that, but thank you for that. The validity of your inner critic is maybe to keep you on your toes, because if you're anything like me, I can sort of rest on my laurels a little bit and just be like, oh, I'm good at this, and the next thing you know, you're kind of just phoning it in, because now it's getting easy, and you have this process, and you're not really pushing yourself. I know that I can do that with songs sometimes, that I'll get like... I'll have, for example, when I sing, I'm comfortable in a certain vocal range, and I may end up writing a few songs in a row where the melodies just sort of fit right in that pocket, but now they're kind of sounding the same. Not really the same, like nobody would mix up the two songs, but I know that I didn't really create anything new with this new song. It's kind of like just a variation or a harmony of the other song, and so I think at that point your inner critic has some validity, because to me he's saying, dude, push it a little harder. You could do better than this, But it's when your inner critic is telling you, like, you suck, then it's no good. That's when it's too harsh. Robin says, I think what you're describing is influences. Yeah, that's what I was describing before. Kelly, Robin, I left you hanging, sorry. All right, I don't know what that means. Then somebody wrote something long, and I don't know who it is because it's blank. Unfortunately, sometimes we see the wrong eye. Unfortunately, sometimes we see with the wrong eye. I look at the portraits I've been doing and can see that they don't look enough like the person. I'm guessing this is Ray. My eyes see all the things that aren't right, the things that are missing. My daughter says it's the artist's eye, and she says I've always had it and have a lot of good stuff stuffed into boxes that should be seen, and I don't think so. Holy shit, I think I'm channeling Kelly. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was Ray, or Anna said, I don't know, whatever, whoever it was. That just threw me for a loop. Yeah, so you're right. We can be very hard on ourselves, right? That we just think like, oh, I can't show this to people. It's not good enough. Yeah, that part of the inner critic is no good, and that's why I think that this safe space is a wonderful space, because we can share it, and when you get enough of a boost from other people, that maybe now you can bring that out into the other world. I don't think that the safe space is the only space. I think that we can graduate from this space and bring it out into the other world. Like, you guys are the first people ever that are seeing this. That this is the stuff that I'm creating now. These are just the thumbnails. This isn't the actual book, but I'm not sharing this on regular Facebook. I don't even care to let everybody else see the journey. They're going to see the finished thing when it comes out, unless I can come up with a reason to share the journey. But right now, the journey for me is I need a safe space to hash this out and just get people who are going to be supportive of it, which you guys are, rather than put it out on regular Facebook and have to hear anything that I don't want to hear, because at this point, especially in the beginning of something, you don't need to hear anybody's crap, Oh, what are you doing there? Oh, that's new. Oh, you changed your thing again. Oh, you're making a comic book? That's weird. Didn't you do that when you were 10? Blah, 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 right? It's like, who needs to hear any of that stuff? Because that just feeds your inner critic. But by sharing it with you guys, all I'm getting is a boost until I get it to the point where I have it a little more down pat, and I'm much more confident in it that I can present it to the world and be like, yep, here it is. Let's go. So anyway, that's what that is. Anna said, it's Anna. I don't know which one you're talking about. Robin, oh, this is fun. That's Ray, I'm betting. Get the t-shirts ready, Kel. Now we need one that says, I confused Bobby. Probably still Ray. Kelly says, a good way... Kelly and Robin, you're showing up, but the other people are not. A good way I found to sort and soothe my inner critic is to be silly. Allow myself to just say, hey, I want to be goofy. I want to be a child. That's cool. That doesn't work for me, but I think that's wonderful. If you can just sort of like just go with it, and just be silly and get your inner critic on board with the whole thing. Like, hey, let's just hang out and have fun. be, as my friend Landon says, be the 5-year-old with crayons, right? Just be that part of you, then I think that's wonderful. Whatever works. There is no one way to soothe your inner critic. So whatever you find that works, do it. Children have all the fun. I want some too, yeah. And a blank person says, one of my favorite covers is Sound of Silence by Disturbed. Oh, that was a great one, right? That's an excellent, you're talking about how bands can take an established song and make it their own. If you don't know, Disturbed, they're like are they heavy metal? I don't really know. I'm not a big Disturbed fan, but this guy has this deep, booming voice, right? And they did the Sound of Silence by Simon & Garfunkel. And holy cow, that is an amazing cover. To take a song that is so iconic and so well known and to do a cover of it that itself is iconic and well known is an incredible feat. And they didn't write the song, they didn't write the melody, they didn't write any of that stuff, but they made it their own, and it is extremely original. Wow, revelation on originality. Sorry, I don't know who said that. Robin, why not call it your original twist to it when you do the song but in your own way? Yeah, I just added that in parentheses so you don't wonder what I'm talking about. Like my original, call when you do a cover your own way, call it your original twist. That's really great. Don't worry, Kelly, it's just that I was start, married to wonder. Okay, that's a typo and I don't know what it means. Kelly, I mean. Yeah, I got that. I keep trying to heart comments, but I'm having problems. Frustrating. I don't know what's going on today. My Wi-Fi wasn't even working today, and I was just like, boy, I hope this live even works at all. It did, apparently, because now we're at the end. And Kelly, I suppose you can have the booby prize today since you're the last comment. And if you're still here, thanks for hanging in there. And yeah, all right, so we can be done, and I'll see you again soon. I know I said I was going to try and do like 2 of these a week, but with the holidays, 1 a week is kind of all I had in me. But so I don't know if I'm going to get around to 1 again this week. I'd like to do 2 a week, but I don't want to just like do it and have nothing to say. I feel like I was doing them every single day except Sundays, and because I just constantly had something to talk about and something to say, and I want these to be valuable. So when I have something to say, I want to do it, you know. And that's why I said I wanted to start maybe having other people do lives. So I'm working on that, and in January or whenever, we're going to have other people doing things in the group as well. If you're interested in being a part of that, let me know. And here we go. So who hit you in the forehead? My wife! My wife hit me in the forehead. She hit me in the forehead, and then she's looking at me later. She's like, I'm like, what? She's like, I cut you. She cut me right in the forehead. And yeah, she's very strong, my wife, and she yeah, what are you gonna do? I didn't know that you'd see that. Anyway, you always have something to say. Oh, thank you. All right, guys, I'm gonna go and have a great day. If I don't do another live before Thursday, Happy New Year. But I'll say Happy New Year in the group, and I'm really gonna leave now. Okay, bye.